Well, welcome. Thank you for being with us as we continue our Mission Moments Sunday School class. This week, we are so lucky to have with us folks from Cedar Ridge Elementary School. In particular, we have Helen Smith, our principal from Cedar Ridge, and Aaron Lange, a parishioner at St. Albans and assistant principal there at Cedar Ridge Elementary School. And we have partnered with Cedar Ridge through the years. Some of you have probably cooked hot dogs. Many hot dogs for Cedar Ridge Elementary School. So I'm going to jump right in. Helen, I'll start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, just briefly, and how did you become the principal of Cedar Ridge?
Well, personally, I've been married for 43 years to my husband, Dennis. I have 2 daughters and 2 wonderful son-in-laws, and with those 2 marriages, I now have 6 great-grandchildren that sometimes that have really helped me relate more to the younger students on campus at times. But I actually started my educational career at St. Albans back 26 years ago as a first grade teacher, and Mary Fidel was the principal here at that time. And so I have lots of precious memories concerning St. Albans, and that being my first year of teaching. I learned a lot that year. Then I went on and became a public school teacher and in various school districts around the area, and eventually ended up in Waco ISD. My passion has always been working with students that are high need for various reasons, and that's always been my true passion, and along with just doing what can always be best for the students and making a difference in students' lives. And so when I ended up at Cedar Ridge 6-7 years ago, Erin always keeps better track than me. Because she became my assistant principal a year after I had been there. But it was wonderful to find out that St. Albans was a partner with, because I know y'all's relationship with Cedar Ridge goes way back by several years before I was there. But it was very exciting to find out that St. Albans was a support to the campus, and they have proven unbelievably what a great support that the church can be to a campus.
Well, thank you. I think Mary Fidel St. Albans School closed about it was a long time.
It's been quite a while.
10 years ago, and I think Mary Fidel is still the principal, though, of St. Albans. So when Mary Fidel asks you to do something, you do it. She's a real gem of this parish. And I didn't know that the partnership existed, for that long with Cedar Ridge. That's really great. Well, thank you. And Aaron, tell us a little bit about yourself. Your family, we've probably seen you and your children running around.
We don't slow down. We're always running.
Yes.
Yes, I am married for almost 10 years in May. We'll be celebrating 10 years, yes. With 2 little ones. Been in Waco since I graduated college. Moved down here the day after and met Ricky about 3 weeks after that. And it's just been a whirlwind. I have been in Waco ISD my entire educational career. I started at Waco High teaching French, taught there for 5 years, and then went to University High and was an instructional specialist, and decided I wanted to be back with little kids. And so saw the position at Cedar Ridge and reached out, and the rest is history. I think I've been there, this is my 6th year, finishing up at the Ridge.
So you both came around the same time. 6 years is enough to really know a place, isn't it?
Yes. My first group of pre-K kids is in 4th grade, and I have that conversation with them often. Remember you in pre-K?
Oh my goodness.
So it's been fun.
I taught briefly, and the middle school students I taught are now college getting married, and it's nothing that I'm sure you've experienced. Nothing makes you feel older when you see people you knew were little are now adults.
Oh, no. I have several children that I taught their parents when I was at the high school.
Oh, my goodness.
It does make you feel old. Very.
Well, so you both have a lot of experience at being principals, leading a school. This year, though, has likely challenged all of your hitherto existing experience. Talk to us, what has it been like being a teacher, a student, being principals at a place like Cedar Ridge with COVID, now that we're a year in?
I think, well, last spring, that was kind of, I would say everybody was almost blindsided, would be a good way to put it, when we did not return to school after spring break.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, those decisions were made to assure that everyone stayed healthy and stuff. And then we reached the point over the summer that our biggest focus was to get everybody, back on campus, get our students on campus, or as many people that felt safe on coming back on campus. So while I think we knew there was going to be a challenge, we truly had no idea the tests that were going to come about. But with that said, it's unbelievable how much our students want to be at school. I would say our parents definitely appreciate us a little bit more.
Absence or maybe presence makes the heart go fonder.
Our staff has been unbelievable in stepping up to the challenge of doing things so differently in life. And the excitement for me as we move ahead and seeing the light at the end of the tunnel is, while things definitely changed this past year, especially instructionally on how things are done on any school, is just knowing the difference that it's going to be in the future for our teachers and students to how they're going to handle things instructionally. And a lot of that, yes, has to do with technology, but basically sometimes when we're forced into something, a lot of good comes out, even with all the struggle and pain that there might be. And yes, there's been lots of tears for sadness and regret, but lots of happy tears too, I believe is there. And that comes, I think, from our students to instructional staff or cafeteria and custodial people. I mean, I just could go on about every level. And even our main administration, what they have done for us to help. So I want to say push through, but that can sound a negative term, but just to follow through and do what needs to be done and providing that support for everyone.
What sort of technological change, you mentioned technology changes, what does that look like for those of us who don't have children in elementary school?
It has looked a lot of different ways. So every 6 weeks, parents can choose to send their students back to school or back to remote. And so I think that's been one of the challenges for me. I feel like we never really get settled because every 6 weeks we have new rosters, new classes, new students. Students are going home. It's just every 6 weeks we're changing. So we have a couple classrooms that are fully remote, and the teachers teach all online. They do Zoom classes, they do breakout rooms, and it's just remarkable to see them having class on computers and just the different vocabulary they're saying. And instead of, hey, sit down, it's mute yourself, make sure you're in a quiet location.
So they're basically like all of us on staff meetings.
Yes.
You're on mute, or no, turn off. There's a dog in the background.
Yes.
With kids.
With kids, oh my goodness.
But a lot of our teachers are teaching hybrid, and so they have both virtual and face-to-face students now. And so they have Zoom running in their classroom, and they're just seamlessly going to help the students in front of them and then go back to their laptops, look at the screens, have them show the work. It's really remarkable to see the difference in how they're working to incorporate those remote students so that they feel like part of the classroom family as well.
I've heard stories from other schools of students sort of falling through the cracks a little bit. Has any of that happened at Cedar Ridge, or?
I think if you look at data, that's nationwide,
Yeah.
statewide, and yes, unfortunately, it is at Cedar Ridge. I know Waco ISD is currently looking proactively of what's going to be best for our students concerning this summer. And, you know, do we do summer school face-to-face? Do we do it, you know, online, or currently how we're doing it? But definitely in working with that, and I have said repeatedly and reminded the teachers that right now we're doing what we can, and that means providing the best instruction possible, whether the students face-to-face or remote, but at the same time knowing and adjusting that we're looking at several years of working with our students to move them to where they are. But I would say we have a large percentage of students, they're so eager to learn right now because, as I spoke about earlier, is that when you lose that couple of months at the end of the year, I think, just like adults, they realized what they were missing too during that time. And being schooled by mom and dad. I mean, we've had parents share that with us. You know, they just won't do for us what they do for me. And sometimes we're like, well, yeah, that's kind of the true story for us. Is sometimes they just won't do for us what they will do for you.
This is why we have teachers, right? This is why we have schools.
Why we want to work as a team. So yeah.
Okay. Well, that's incredible to think about. That a lot of kids are sort of self-motivated now because of what they've experienced. What signs of hope do you see? I mean, you mentioned that things are already starting to improve. What good things do you see on the horizon for Cedar Ridge through the end of this semester and into next semester?
I've actually had several staff asking me, what do you see next year looking like? And when they ask that question, I believe they're asking, their true question is, do you think we're going to have to wear masks, or, you know, how do you see things? And do you think we'll constantly be changing like we have? And we have seen some of the slowdown of as many students moving from face-to-face to remote learning. It's that's beginning to become solidified with more students returning to us face-to-face. And I think in part is parents becoming more comfortable. And I recognize, I'll be the first one to say, I'm going to recognize if someone is uncomfortable on sending their child to school, because that's their baby, and we want them safe. What I see in the future is I do believe that we're going to have a lot more normalcy headed into the spring and summer, and I know field day is always a big day.
Field day. I remember field day when I was in elementary school.
It is the campus joke that field day is not one of my favorite days. But with that said, sure did miss field day last year, and my hope is that we, even with us not having parents and families joining in on field day, is definitely having a field day for our students. We've talked about doing a field day for our staff, because there is a kind of a work day. We could probably slide in, you know, a day of fun for our staff, because they definitely need that fun. And but doing that, and then moving forward with making plans of definitely getting back to as normal as possible. Do I see us completely unmasking, or not necessarily, but maybe so. And I think that all depends on who chooses to be vaccinated and who does. Like, it goes back to where the comfort level is and where that data is. And I am thankful that Waco ISD does have a school board and a superintendent that pays close attention to the science of things for us, because I've had multiple staff, I've had families tell me they feel much safer knowing that the willingness is there to take things slow, but continue to move forward. But
I mean, and both of you have been vaccinated. I know
Yes.
teachers, it's been all opened up for
Yes.
yeah.
teachers across the state. So if you're a teacher, go get vaccinated
Yes.
right now.
It was very kind on a personal note. It was wonderful this over spring break. I was able to see my sister for the first time completely unmasked and visit her. She's single and has not, she's fully vaccinated too, thankfully. First time she's had a hug in over a year.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so when we think about people who are single and live alone and that are high risk, I mean, that is something significant. But also knowing I'm safe to be around my grandkids and not and to be around kids at school and staff at school. The Friday before spring break, I gave my music teacher a hug, and I felt perfectly safe doing that. So I do think that there is a huge light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Back a few weeks ago, it was a tiny light. Now it's getting bigger.
The light is growing. The sun is dawning.
Yes.
Any other things you'd like to add to that, Erin?
I
in
think
terms-
just the feeling of safety with the vaccinations is incredible. I think the thing I look forward to the most is hugs again. We are a campus that we hug. We hug our kids. We hug like all the time. And I think so many of our kids come to school wanting that. And like there's a family set of twins. Every morning I got hugs last year.
Yeah.
And they came back to campus and just looked at me. I was like,
It's so
Yeah,
hard with
I
little
think-
bitty kids. so-
yes. And so I'm looking forward to getting that kind of more family relational back. We've talked a lot about trying to just be out in the halls and be in classrooms more because conversations don't happen on Zoom like they
Right.
do in person when
Yeah,
you're walking
sure.
around. And so just trying to make those points that we're able to, now that we're both vaccinated and a little bit safer, go to those teachers and just check on them a little bit easier than, hey, get on Zoom and try to tell me what's going on, because they don't want to do that.
Zoom fatigue for the teachers and students is probably
it
pretty
is
big.
very real.
Yeah.
It's very nice to, as this spring we're working on evaluations, being able to tell teachers, come to my office. We're not doing this over Zoom. You get to come
Yeah.
sit in my office, and yes, we're going to be spaced or 6 feet apart and stuff. But it's wonderful to be back, to be moving towards that in person.
Well, it sounds good. I'm hopeful for you all that the fall looks more like being principals as you know it, instead of having to juggle a million new things. How can St. Albans, we've helped in the past, how can our members continue? I mean, we pray for you every Sunday, but how can we continue to support what y'all do?
I would say, of course, the continued prayers. I'm a big believer that prayers can cover everything and change everything.
Yes.
And so ever so thankful for the spiritual support from St. Albans, and because I know y'all worked with staff, y'all worked with some of our families at times to meet their needs. But I would say ongoing helping with the hot dogs.
Yes,
Yay.
our families love the hot
Yeah.
dogs.
It's
Our
okay.
families love the hot dogs. It's so funny, and I do think this might have been shared, but I know back a couple of years ago we had a student that went through Cedar Ridge pre-K through 5th grade, and when he was in middle school, when they saw that there was open house, he came up to visit his old teachers, but to get that hot dog.
Yes, he
So
did.
open house. So that will be coming up. What is the date this
That
year?
is usually in September or October.
That's right. It was
So,
September.
for us. But I would just the ongoing prayers and knowing that we can reach out to y'all with our needs and who to contact is wonderful.
Yeah.
And even something as simple as a note, just to say, keep on going, you're doing great. I know that was organized earlier this year, and everyone on the staff got a card. And
Yeah.
just the smiles and how much it touched our staff, just to know someone is out there recognizing that we're doing this and working hard, and it was very appreciated.
Okay. So do you hear that? It's not too late to write a card for the principals, the teachers, the cafeteria workers, the janitorial staff. I mean, everyone has been affected by this, and just to encourage them and to sign up for the great hot dog cook-off in the fall, which we did to-go bags.
I think this year y'all did,
To-go
yes.
bags this year, but hopefully we'll be back to slinging hot dogs. So, well, thank you both so much for being here with us and for teaching the kids at Waco and all the hard work that you both have done. We really appreciate and are thankful for all of our teachers and principals who've had to work and adjust in a difficult year. The pandemic has shown here. People keep talking about heroes and I think nurses, medical staff, and really teachers and school staff are just day in, day out heroes for all of us. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Great. Thanks. Thank you, guys. We look forward to next week where we have Mission Waco with us. Peace.